with you again today. I am excited to be here to share even more. I hope that this has been an impactful journey for you. We are 13 days into the CEO Shift live stream series. I kicked it off to really be an empowerer and encourager to those of you who are looking to make that transition from corporate to entrepreneur. I started off this journey going really deep with a lot of the things that we sense and feel when we get the nudge to move forward. And this week, I made a pivot of my own and started talking a lot more about the business strategy that I bring to my clients. And this week has been so incredible because as I spend time really anchoring in my own thoughts and talking through my own process, I have gotten excited. I've gotten excited because as I share, I believe that you're going to start to see how feasible this shift is for you. That making that pivot from corporate to entrepreneur and understanding what you can anticipate along the way and what help is available for you is something that is going to allow you to lean into it more fully. And so this week, I've been talking a lot about positioning. Now, if you don't know, my strategic or signature framework is purpose plus positioning equals profits. So the first couple of conversations that we had in this series was really getting you to understand that misalignment that you feel, that nudge that you feel that says you need to continue your success in a different way and you need to move forward and make more impact and more income in alignment with who you are now, who you have evolved to become. The answer to that is purpose. And so the framework starts with purpose and helping you understand why you need it and how to begin to lean into it as the answer of the nudge that you feel. The second part of the framework is positioning. And positioning is where all the business magic comes to place. This is where we talk about what you do. This is where we talk about how you serve and how you show up. Now, there is a strategic part of this, though, because just showing up in the marketplace and saying that I'm in business and I do this type of work does not guarantee that people will resonate with what it is that you actually help them to accomplish. And that's where positioning comes in. Now, yesterday, I spent a lot of time differentiating niches from positioning. A lot of people understand that niche language. It's heavily used, but that is not what positioning is. Niche just identifies the category of service that you show up in, but positioning makes you the obvious choice to help them solve the problem in a way that works for them. It is your market edge. It is how you differentiate yourself from all of the other people who may be doing what you do. And so one of the things that I wanted to go in a little bit deeper today on positioning is to help you understand more facets of it. It is absolutely a game changer when you can understand how to get your positioning to work. But I want you to know this, that positioning is just as much science as it is art. Now, we understand those terminologies because of the people who are leaning to more of the left brain versus the right brain. But I want you to know when it comes to positioning, you have to activate both sides. And depending on who you are, depending on your makeup, you probably lean to one side more than the other. But what I want to assert for you today is that it takes both sides. Positioning is just as much science as it is art. And here's what I mean. The science part of positioning is your strategy. You got to know your market. You got to validate your message. You got to test your message. You got to refine your message. And so the strategy element of it is the science that you provide to it. You look for the results, the data, and all of the other things to draw the appropriate conclusion on how things are working. So you know your market, you validate your messaging, you test your messaging, and you refine. The art part of it, though, It's how you bring yourself into it. And yesterday, I talked a lot about how many businesses are missing this element that really is a game changer when we talk about positioning. Bringing you into it brings your voice, brings your perspective, brings your presence, brings your story, brings all of those different things that helps to differentiate. And in addition to that, bringing you into it ensures you're building something that can be sustained by you and something that you're deeply connected to. And that is the piece. Both of those pieces, those are the pieces that make your positioning magnetic and unforgettable. Those are the two words that I want you to really cling to. Your positioning has to be magnetic, which means it's going to attract the people who want the answer you're delivering in the marketplace. And it needs to be unforgettable. It cannot blend in with everyone else. Now, I work with women who are making that pivot from corporate to entrepreneur. And as corporate professionals, we have been trained to lean in heavily on the science side. We are data driven, we are process oriented, and we are focused on performance metrics. We are groomed that way. That's been a part of our success. We got real good at understanding data points. We got real good of making sure the requirements were maintained and we could have markers of success. We got real good at driving processes, at getting the results coming out of the other end. And we've got real good at KPIs. And if you know that language, then you know corporate. You got real good on those performance metrics. And those things are very powerful, even as an entrepreneur. They're still very important. The science part of positioning relies on those same things that you know so well. They are the currency of your career success, and they're going to prove to be valuable even in your entrepreneur journey. But when you step into entrepreneurship, there is a bit of a shift that happens that doesn't necessarily happen for everyone in corporate. And that is, you have to embrace the art side of this. Because in business, you are the differentiator. You cannot blend in. You have to be very intentional about the problem you solve, why it works when you solve it, the results that can be anticipated, and all of that usually is tied to your own journey, your own story, your own presence, your own perspective. And so those things are not extra. They are the very things that will build trust and draw people in. So here's the thing. The real power move is learning how to balance both. Learning how to balance both the science that keeps your positioning sharp and proven. That's the metrics, that's the data, that's the process. It's going to come up with something that keeps it sharp and proven. But the art side is going to make sure that it's human, that it's memorable, and that it is magnetic. Now, what makes positioning magnetic? This is part of you tapping into the art side. What makes positioning magnetic is it must resonate on an emotional level. An emotional level. Magnetic positioning goes beyond describing what you do. It makes your audience feel like you understand them better than they understand themselves. You're not just naming their problem, but you're articulating the secret fears they have. You're articulating the unspoken desires they have. You're articulating the quiet frustrations. It's resonating with them on an emotional level. And here's an example. Instead of saying, I help women start businesses, you say, I help successful women who've outgrown their corporate role design a business that fits the life they actually want now. That sounds so much more powerful. It talks about the secret fears. It unlocks the unspoken desire. And their quiet frustrations. Okay. The other thing that makes positioning magnetic is it differentiates you clearly from all of the others. And this is where we don't do a really good job. Many of us say we show up and serve in a certain area, but we're not creating the magnetic positioning that makes you the obvious choice. The obvious choice, like no brainer choice. Differentiating yourself is key. It highlights why you are different from the sea of other people who do what you do. And what I find is that most at least in the coaching industry, focus only on the niche, who they serve. But I love to pull in lifestyle. I love to pull in purpose. I love to pull in identity alignment. And those characteristics are what helps to differentiate you and create that emotional connection. It makes you magnetic when you reveal those aspects of who you are so that you can attract the people who are looking for that, who desire connection with that. The other thing that makes positioning magnetic is it builds instant trust and authority. Magnetic positioning makes people think if she can describe my situation this well, she must have the solution. Let me say that again. Magnetic positioning makes people think if she can describe my situation this well, she must have the solution. And that's exactly the foundation you want to stand upon. It's a foundation of trust that gets built because you sound credible, because you are credible, because you show up. You're not generic. You have trustworthy characteristics that are being shared out that people gravitate to. Authority grows because you name not just the problem, but the pattern they are caught in. The authority grows because you name not just the problem, but the pattern they are caught in. It helps them to be seen, connected, and related to. It also makes them believe that they can be helped when they are understood. The next thing that makes positioning magnetic is it makes people self-select in. When your positioning is magnetic, the right people hear themselves in your words. They don't have to be convinced. They lean in. And so this is why you're not casting this wide net, but you're creating a magnetic pull that attracts the right fit clients and naturally repels the wrong fit clients. And the last thing is when your positioning is magnetic, it multiplies the impact of everything else. It's this multiplier, this igniter, this intensifier. Magnetic positioning turns ordinary marketing into a magnet. Your emails land harder. Your live streams draw the right people. Your offers feel irresistible because they're wrapped in language that already convinced them. And this is why you have to spend time getting to know who it is that you're talking to. What are their fears? What are their secret desires? What are the things that they want that they're not talking about? What are their quiet frustrations? Help them feel seen in your show up. So, in short, positioning is magnetic when it blends the science with the art, when it blends the strategy, which is that clarity and differentiation, with the psychology or the art, which is that emotional resonating and trust. When those things happen together, you got magic. It becomes magnetic and it feels like you are in their heads, and that's what makes them move. And so here's the thing. Positioning fails to attract the right clients, not because you don't have talent. You absolutely have talent. You're a proven resource. You are successful in every word. It doesn't fail because you don't have work ethic. You got work ethic. You can put it in with the best of them. Your hustle and grind is unmatched. You can show up and do what you need to do. So it's not about work ethic, and it's not about talent or ability. And it's not even about your niche, because we know the niche is just talking about what you do. But positioning fails for 3 reasons that I am going to highlight. In fact, I have 9, but I'm only going to cover 3 today. The first reason is you're too quiet. The second reason is you're making assumptions. And the third reason is you give up too soon. You give up too soon. And so here's the deal. The too quiet part. There is, especially for women who are pivoting from corporate to entrepreneur, there is this unwillingness to be visible. Unwillingness to be visible. It's almost like you're working against yourself because there's an unwillingness to be visible. And I get it, because in corporate, your reputation was built internally. Your results, your relationships, your referrals to drive success, all of that happened within the 4 walls. So you didn't have to be visible. But you're in a new field now. You're in a new arena now. And the rules are a little bit different, because when it comes to entrepreneurship, it requires public visibility. And if you're not consistently showing up where your market can see you, your positioning isn't getting tested. If it only exists in your mind, it isn't getting tested. It isn't getting validated. It isn't even getting consumed. Nobody knows what you do but you, because of your unwillingness to be visible. So imagine this. You're in your professional world, and you know that there is a project you need to deliver, yet you're unwilling to do the work that it takes to deliver. And so that is exactly what happens when you have an unwillingness to be visible. When you're not being visible for your brand, or when you're trying to do it in a way that excludes you, you are the it factor. And I understand that everything about your success to date happened internally, but it is a new playing field that you're on now. And so you got to update the rules of engagement. And the rules of engagement says that there must be public visibility. Now, here's my example I love to share. If someone tells me about a brand new restaurant that I should try, the very first thing I'm going to do is Google that restaurant, go to Yelp or any of the other platforms where I can review it, Instagram, somewhere. I need to find something about the restaurant somewhere. And if I cannot locate any information that substantiates this incredible recommendation you gave me, I don't see no pictures, I don't see no results, I don't see no plates, I don't see no menu, I don't see anything, it's going to make me hesitant to do business or plan to drive across the town to go to that restaurant, because there's no visibility to it. And the same is true for you. Your reputation has to be established by your willingness to be visible for the business that you said you're called to build. You're called to build it. And so when you're unwilling to be visible, you are 100% working against everything it takes to create the result that you want. So the first reason why positioning fails isn't even because of the positioning that's established. It is an unwillingness to be present and visible and show up to test the positioning. So it's not even getting tested. So failure. The second reason why positioning fails is there are too many assumptions and not enough validation. And these assumptions can skew from one side to the other. You assume that you got it nailed, or you assume that it's not going to work. One side or the other. There are so many assumptions. Assuming you know what your audience wants without even checking it. assuming that you know what they don't want without even checking it. And so when you operate with these assumptions, you build content and offers on guesses instead of feedback. The best thing that I consider gold is feedback. That's whether or not you're doing your career, you're in a relationship with someone, or you're building a business. Feedback is always gold. But when you refuse to execute, when you refuse to test the offer, it is a guess. You're guessing. So without actual market validation, your positioning feels smart on paper, but it may be falling flat in the real world because you are operating with too many assumptions and not enough validation. And then finally, the third reason why positioning often fails, and it is because corporate wins come fast with authority and resources behind you. Hear me loud and clear. When you are in corporate, you got a bigger checkbook. You got more resources. You got more teams. You got more ability to execute. So when you're in corporate, those wins come fast. You got the authority of the brand, the big brand that you're working for. You got the backing of the big teams. And so you come into this realm expecting the same results. But positioning is a long game. It requires repetition. It requires testing, and it requires refinement. Hear me again. Positioning is the long game. And so you can't post today and expect that tomorrow the floodgates are going to open. And yeah, that may happen, but it doesn't happen on a high probability. Not for many of us. It takes repetition. It takes testing. It takes refinement. And so we are giving up too soon. If you pivot after one post or after 2 weeks of effort, you are not giving your positioning a fair shot. You haven't even had a chance to collect enough data. And so the 3 reasons that I went over today, and again, I got 9, but the 3 reasons I went over today as to why positioning often fails is that we are unwilling to be visible. That's working against yourself. You make too many assumptions and not enough validation. You're assuming, but you don't let the market validate or give you feedback, or you give up too soon. You made one post. You did 2 weeks of effort, and then you fell off. You asked someone, when's the last time you were present for your business? Oh, 2 weeks ago. Okay. So McDonald's, as a billion serves, show up every day, multiple times a day, but you good with one time 2 weeks ago. Okay. So you cannot validate your positioning because you're not working what it takes to understand whether or not it actually is resonating. And what I want to say, and what I understand from my own journey, I'll be honest with you. I've been talking about corporate to entrepreneur for well over a year now. Well over a year. Positioning isn't an overnight win. It takes time to take root and show the effects in the marketplace. It's not an overnight win. It takes time to take root and show the effect in the marketplace. And while I've been talking about it for well over a year, I have been pivoting every step of the way, learning every step of the way, validating every step of the way, showing up every step of the way. And so what I want you to know is when you decide to step in and give all of the authority to your solution, the one that you know is transformational to the people who have the problem that you can help them solve. When you step into that authority, you have to understand that positioning needs time to work. It needs time to work. It is not post today and floodgates tomorrow. Not for most of us. It wasn't even that for Apple. It wasn't even that for Amazon. It's about perception, not just clarity. Positioning lives in the minds of your audience. And even when you nail the messaging, your market needs time to repeatedly hear it, to recognize it, and start associating you with it. Let me say that again. They need time to repeatedly hear it, recognize it, and start associating it with you. And it's that repetition that builds the magnetic force. Not one and done, repeatedly. Positioning needs time to work. But the beautiful thing is it has a compounding effect. Strong positioning doesn't just attract once, it compounds. Every time you show up with the same clarity, it reinforces who you are. And over weeks and months, that builds authority, that builds memory, and that builds trust. And so while it may tarry, as they say in the church, while it may tarry, while it may still be coming, it is compounding. The other thing when it's taking time is it filters out the wrong clients. Early on, you may still get people who aren't a fit. That doesn't mean your positioning isn't working. It just means your filter is still doing its work. And over time, the wrong fits will self-select out and the right fits will find you faster. But none of that happens if you give up. The other thing that positioning does over time is it grows with your visibility. It grows with your visibility. So if you're not visible, it's not growing because it grows with your visibility. Not despite your visibility, with your visibility. And even the best positioning, it needs visibility to be tested. It needs visibility to be refined. As you use it across your platforms, your emails, your live streams, your speaking, your website, you start to see where it clicks the most strongly, and you can tighten around that. Is it clicking here? Is it clicking here? Are you looking at the right science indicators to let you know where it's clicking? The performance, the KPI, that language, it's still a very good part. But your positioning grows with your visibility. It doesn't grow without it. And then finally, positioning needs time to work. But there are signs that it's starting to work. And those are the things that I teach my clients to look for. The signs that it's starting to work. When people repeat your language back to you, it's starting to work. When you start hearing consistency and why people are reaching out to you, it's starting to work. And when clients are pre-sold before they connect with you, it is starting to work. But none of the value of positioning can take place if you fall victim to one of those three reasons that shuts it down. If you're unwilling to be visible, if you make way too many assumptions and not enough validation, or if you give up too soon. Positioning is a seed, not a switch. You don't turn it on and off. You plant it. It's a seed, not a switch. And you plant it with clarity. You water it with consistency. And over time, it will grow into the magnet that pulls in the right client directly to you. I want you to have that visualization. It's not a switch to turn on. It's a seed to be planted. And when you plant seeds, you have to bring along with it water. That's your consistency. And in time, it will grow. And when your positioning does grow, it will be magnetic to pull in the right client. Now, last week, I went deep on mindset and I shared that getting help doesn't make you weak. It actually makes you wise. I shared that. When you're at that crossroads, getting help doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. And my clients, they get the opportunity to tap into not only my experience, but my insights and my strategic mind. And they do that with me being their coach, their mentor, and their guide. There is an opportunity for you to get in the right space where all of that can be put to work for you. I have opened the doors to Corporate to Entrepreneur Live. It's going to be in October on the 25th and 26th. I shared with you yesterday that 50% of the capacity is gone. It is designed to be this exclusive, intimate setting where I see you, you see me. There's no hiding on the back row. There's no ducking out. You are going to get what you came for. We are going to execute the Corporate to Entrepreneur method, and I'm giving you glimpses into what I call step number 2 of the method, which is really going deeper on your positioning and understanding how to show up and be unforgettable. Be the transformation that someone wants to invest in to help them solve the problem that they have. But you get none of that support by continuing to stand on the sidelines. You get that support by getting in the room that's moving in the direction that you want to go. Now, we are still in pre-sale mode until the end of this month. And at the end of this month, pre-sale will go away. And what does pre-sale mean? It is 80% off for you to come into the room. 80% off. For less than $100, you can join me for 2 days and be energized in your journey from corporate to entrepreneur. My goal is to help you launch the right business, not just any business, the right business, one that is connected to who God created you to be, your purpose. And from there, we bring that to the marketplace with strategic positioning. And from there, we drive profits. Profits are your income and your impact. And so if you know that you feel connected, not only to me, but to the things that I've been sharing, then I want to give you a personal invitation to get in the room in Charlotte, North Carolina, to be in person with me and the other incredible women who are going to be in that space. You're going to be united in a community of women who are looking to accelerate their success. There's nothing greater than that. To be enterprising, to be empire builders. This is going to be a phenomenal occasion, and I would love to see you in the room. So if you go to www.theceoshift.live, all of the information is there. And we only have a few more days before the pre-sale will go away. And then the doors will shut shortly after. And we are going to go with the goers. I am going to show up with all of my strategic glory and be that business strategist and coach that is going to help accelerate your success. So if you sense that you need to be in the room, I would love to see you there. If you go to www.theceoshift.live, you can grab your spot and we will connect on October 25th and 26th here in Charlotte, North Carolina for 2 incredible days that are shaping up nicely. I'm so pleased with what we have put together and have planned. Now, as far as this conversation, we're going to continue it tomorrow. I have even more to share around positioning. And if this dialogue resonated with you, or if you know someone that needs to hear it, like this is something that your girl needs, someone, your business bestie, someone that's been talking to you about what they're trying to do, and you know they need to hear this, be your sister's keeper, share it with them so that they can take a listen and be supported on their journey. We're not at odds with anyone. There's enough success for all of us. So be sure to share it out. More than that, be sure to join me in October, and I will be back tomorrow. This has been such an incredible journey for me, going live, coming back to the mic. So I'll be back tomorrow to share a little bit more, and then we do have a guest plan to join us on Friday, and we'll talk a little bit about her journey. In terms of positioning and what she had to do to kind of ideate around it. I'm really excited. This is shaped up beautifully. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.